Time has come to put my computer back into the case now that it's all painted and everything else. It's been out for quite a while, sitting on my desk. So we're going to put that all together. It has been quite a while. Hey there, this is Tom's Tech Show, and a while back I started a project of taking my case apart, painting it. I think you've seen it's the new lime green color, kind of a Buzz Lightyear thing, but not Lightyear movie thing, because that is a sucky movie and I refuse to go see it. So anyway, I've got this one cable here that goes to a big USB 3 hub, so I can just switch that from my computer to my MacBook Pro that's sitting over here, and just set up OBS, start recording. So that's all good. Well, right now I've got this cage. This cage used to hold two of the ginormous 3.5-inch drives. Well, we're a long ways away from 3.5-inch drives now. If we're not on 2.5-inch, solid state drives, then we're on, M.2 SATA drives, so which are even smaller. So I drilled a couple extra holes. So this only used to have 2 sets of holes, and I drilled and created some more sets of holes in here. So I've got 4 now because I've got 4 drives. Yes, I'm a little bit crazy, having tons of hard drive space. A lot of these are just SSD drives from around wherever, and it's a terabyte here, 2 terabytes there, another terabyte here, and another 2 terabytes here. So it's quite a bit of space. When you're making videos, you chew up a lot of space, and SSD drives are the better choice that you want to go with when you're trying to do video and stuff, making everything go fast. So now I've got these little plastic trays that I found to try and help me mount that. See how these are mounted in here? We've got these mounted in here. They kind of hold it in there nice and firm. Able to put the cables in there, and then this is little plastic thing here will be kind of a stress relief, so nothing gets bent really hard. But we're going to stick these things back into these, so they're just pretty easy. You just tuck it in one side and kind of bend it over, and then pop, and it's all in there now. So it's pretty quick and easy to get these drives inside these little cases. I do have some screws in here to screw them in and hook them up into the thing. What I didn't do, I took my case apart, and it's been so long since I took it apart. I don't know what I did with all of the screws. I'm sure I put them in a little box or something like this, but I don't know where they are. So I do have, where'd it go? Over the years, every computer that I've taken apart, I've saved all of the extra screws and stuff and kept them in a little box in this little tub. So you look at all those screws inside there. So if I need a screw to put something together, we're surely going to find it, which I did. I found enough screws to get it all back together. Okay, so now I've got this other hard drive here. Just gonna peel it in, and it gets it all nice and firm like that. Okay, now we got to screw these into this little tray. So we'll take this, just kind of slide it up in here like that. Okay. Give it a little bit of space. Okay. There we go. I've got a screwdriver. Got glasses to see what I'm doing. Okay. Put this right in here. I think I'm going to put the bottom one on before I get a little crazy. Make sure there's enough space on all this stuff. There we go. Okay, perfect. It's going to fit perfectly. Look at that, all the holes lining up on this side. This red things are just, plastic, so they're pretty easy to get the little screws that they provided started on them. This one in the middle here might be a little bit rough because my screw hole that I drilled is a little bit off, so we'll see if we can get that to start. If not, it's fine. I think I'll have like 3 other screws in it. Yeah, that one's not going to start. So the screw hole is just a little bit out. So that's fine. I think these aren't spinning. Well, you know, like old hard drives used to spin, have platters and all that stuff. So there's not a lot of vibration in your SSD drive anymore. And if you've still got a spinning drive in your computer, SSDs are very inexpensive and very easy to, you know, back up your computer and swap out and get all your old data onto it. And usually, I mean, often what I do with these things when I'm moving hard drives around, you get so much junk on your computer that maybe it's time just to reload Windows from scratch. Your computer will run so much better. You should be able to download the ISO image from Microsoft and then reload it nice and clean and fresh. Windows runs better that way. Without, you know, once it's brand new, it tends to, you know, after you install stuff and then uninstall stuff and everything. So now we've got a little box tray that has 6 terabytes of hard drive space, and that doesn't include, what's the one I think I've got, is that a 1 terabyte, is that a 512? I have no idea. I think it's another terabyte inside, so we've got 7 terabytes on this machine for doing video. And yes, it's getting a little warm in this room. I did this during the evening because here in Florida it has been bloody hot. So doing these videos in the evening makes it much nicer. Whoops, we're bumping into things. Okay, so there's that. Now I have on the motherboard, let's unplug some stuff here. Yeah, speakers, I know. Okay, so on this system board here, I've got all these SATA cables. Some are really short, some are really long. So I did go and buy a package that has all the same length of SATA cable, and all of them have like, which one is it? This one? This one right here has a little metal clips so that everything is very positively connected when it snaps in. So I gotta be careful. This thing was just running a few minutes ago and I don't want it, you know, I think it might still be warm. I'll disconnect the monitors here. I don't need those right now. Okay. So now we're going to switch things up because I got to move over to the other side. I've put the case down on the ground down there so that I can quickly and easily get this stuff in there and have it have space. Now I can touch the top of this big huge heat sink here. Even when this thing is running pretty much full bore, these little heatsink water cooling pipes and stuff, they only get mildly warm. They don't really get super hot, which is nice, which means I've got enough cooling on here to keep everything nice and cool. So I like, you know, making sure of that. All right, here we go. We're switching spaces. Okay, now that I'm down here with the computer, I'm going to drop this motherboard in here. There's little tabs and stuff and little metal pieces down here on this side where the little faceplate is in the back. And you're going to make sure that this kind of fits and slides under and make sure those fit right on everything like it's supposed to, like that. Okay. Then I need some screws. Thanks to my handy big load of screws from over the years. I mean, how long have I been building? I'm trying to figure out how long. When did I build my first computer? Because I know I had my parents had an IBM PC with the big, with the big floppy drives, the 5.5, 5.25 floppy drives. I know we had one of those. Must have been in right when they came out, because we were playing a bunch of different games that needed two, 5-inch discs in order to be able to work. Now I do have this. This is my USB 3. I have a little extra USB 3 ports inside on the motherboard, so we're utilizing those and taking those out to the back so that they're not, wasted. So I will kind of twist this cable up a little bit so that I can get it back here, and we're just gonna put this right back here on the back, and I've got a screw set right here to screw that down. Okay. Now, there we go. Okay. Now next is a power supply. So you can see, if you keep looking in this case as I grab some other screws, that this case, has seen the years. I mean, there used to be time when, of course, the computers, motherboards and everything were just huge and could fill this entire space. I mean, all the way down, to the bottom here, just, filling all of that. And that's, way back when. And now it's, it's pretty small. This is I think like a micro ATX or whatever thing. So it's, gets pretty interesting. You get all this tiny computing stuff. Now power supplies, they seem to still be, you can still get them the same big ginormous size here. We're gonna get some screws into this, get this thing bolted on the back of this case here. But as you can see, since everything comes out of the case, I mean, I've been updating and upgrading this thing for probably like 95, 96, something like that. So it's been quite a while that I've had this case. So, like I said, it's so big, it's got so much space in it that it's just nice to be able to just put whatever I need to in it. I mean, any motherboard that you can find today will fit in it, so it's no big deal. And since there's so much space and so much air space inside here, it's no big deal to get all that done. Okay, now we've got that. Now we've got some main cables that we have to hook up. In here, so that's a cable I'm not even going to use. We're just going to tuck that around the back there. We've got this main power cable here that plugs into this spot right there, sitting there. These are all the cables for hard drive, power, and all that. So we'll tuck those in there. More hard drive power. I'll tuck those in there for now. Okay, this is the other 12-volt connection down here. So it gets there. We can just push and it clips right on there. Okay, now, so these are the SATA cables that I got. So we can see they're all nice and short. They're not really long because they've only got to go from here to the drive cage, which is going to be right there. So let's grab that. Drive cage. And it's pretty nice. It's got a little slot. See this this has some little metal pieces right here, some little metal pieces that stick out right here, and then there's some little grooves here. So you can just take this. I mean, this was all a very, modular, forward-thinking case, and boom, click, now your drives are there. I mean, it was just that simple to be able to, and then you have a little metal tab here. You just pull that down and it lifts up, and then you push it down and it clips right back in. It was such a forward-thinking case at the time to be able to do that, to be able to just one-handed pull the front off and then get into the side of it. I mean, just made it that it was just like, yeah, this is how the cases should be. This is how they should work. So now that we've got to plug some stuff in here. So we've got this set of cable here. So once it's clipped, I can't pull it out. So that's kind of nice. It won't come back out. And then it just goes right here. Click right into the motherboard. So makes it very nice and easy to get these things in here. And it provides, so the other thing that having smaller exact length cables do is help provide better airflow inside of the computer case, right? So I was at one of my jobs, and when I started there, I kind of end up being cleanup, like I get hired and there's a ton of things wrong, and the company I work for suddenly, oh, all this is wrong, we need you to clean it up. I'm like, okay, well, one place had so many, they didn't bother with any cable management behind any of the servers. So the servers in the rack were getting overheated and shutting off because all the cables, everything just laid down, network cables, everything just laid down in the back, and never, just was no management at all of any of the cables. So I'm like, well, this is your problem. You're not managing your cables correctly. So went through, got all the cables routed correctly, got everything where it should be, and out of the way so that they're nice. So they come down and they go off to the side and don't block any of the fan space and everything, and got all that done. And then the shock, the rack didn't overheat anymore. So they're like, wow, how did you do that? I'm like, don't, not a question you probably want to ask right now, because you're not going to like the answer, because it's like you have to do things what we like to call the right way. So let's get this a little bit twisted up so that all the cables stay together. There we go. So I know that some of these, I wish I had like better length SATA power cables, but it is what it is right now. I'd have to go buy a whole new power supply, and I don't think no one's gifting me a power supply right now. So I had so many people here today at the house. You don't even know. The health inspector was here. That one's going to be problematic because it's so short. Is that going to reach? So I've got that is a little bit problematic for reachability. So we're going to have to get it. Okay, it just barely reaches. Okay, we'll get it to work. We will get it to work. Just kind of pull it forward, get it nice and stretched out here. Okay. Yeah, I had the health inspector here, then had electricians here, then had the, local power company here. Yeah. Putting, more buildings on your property isn't as easy as it would seem. Okay, that's in there. And then we got one more power wire to hook up here. And Okay. All right. All of our power is back to this thing. So the next thing we need to do is, I'm going to need a little bit more light here because we've got, I do like having the speaker plugged in so that if the system, I mean really all the speaker does is just kind of beep. So this is the power switch. So we've got the power switch, which is this one right here. Now we used to have, this is not an Asus motherboard, I think it was Asus, but they have this thing called the Q connector, because right now I got to dig in here into the bottom of this thing, take all these little tiny cables and wires and everything else, and plug them into this, and try and get them all hooked up correctly. Well, the Asus motherboards had a little thing called a Q block or Q connector or something like that. I think that's what it was. But it just allowed you to, out here, put all the cables in correctly and then just plug the one thing down in the bottom. It was very, very nice. But I just didn't have they didn't have one of those in the form factor that I wanted at the time. So I don't know that I need a sleep switch. And that's going to be the hard drive LED. Got a power LED. Hard drive LED. Sleep switch. This is going to be the power LED. More than likely. Okay. Actually, I think that one goes over here like that. Okay. All right, there we go. That is all wired up. That's always the biggest part, is getting all those stupid little wires in there. So we've got motherboard in here. We've got hard drives rehooked up. I mean, you can see that I could use a much smaller case, but not necessary. But I'm going to go with the bigger case and leave it like this. This one keeps coming off. I may need to get an extension and be able to hook that drive up. So let's put that in there. Okay, so now time to give it power, see if it's going to light back up again. Okay, now I've got a monitor plugged in here. This is my display port monitor that's in the back here. I've got power plugged in. So what happens if we hit the power button? Click, and I heard a beep, which is a good sign. And if I look around on the monitor, I've got display coming up. So we're all good in there. Now I just need to plug in, get the rest of the power cables, the network cables, and all that stuff all plugged back in, and then we'll be good to go, back running again. I'm going to move it underneath the desk and set it back up, get all the cables plugged back into it. I have the front face of the case here all set, so we can put that back on, everything painted, and we'll be ready to go. All right, here we go. Okay, so there it is. It's sitting on the floor, all kind of set up and ready to go. I got most of the cables plugged in back in, but there's a few things I wanted to show you. A few things that I've come across over the years is this little cable here. A lot of times you'll be somewhere and you've got to just, I just need to, I've got a brick and I got to plug it in somewhere, and having one of these around, this is one and it splits it into two, but you can use it to hook your bricks up, little big brick blocks and stuff, and so they can sit there and be able to, instead of having another power strip or anything else, kind of. And then the other thing is, This is a PC cable to plug power into my PC, but you notice it's not like 7 or 8 feet long. It's actually just long enough for what I need. So these are kind of handy, especially when you're doing something in a data center and you want power cables to run just exactly, within a few inches from where the power port is to where the outlet is. So getting them resized, there's a bunch of different sites on the internet, and Amazon has all these things, all different sizes. So when you're setting up your data centers and setting up your little cabinets, your closets with your servers and stuff, make sure to order the right length power cord. Makes running all that power and everything to things so much more simple, and makes it so much cleaner. Like I was saying before, a cabinet that has just tons of cables coming out the back, that one job site, just all these cables blocking airflow and everything that you need. Having some right length power cables does wonders for keeping that cleaned up. All right, well, there it is. My little computer. I'm going to plug it back in, get my studio back going again on that side. I'm going to do have my MacBook Pro that I'm kind of running off of, which is nice to have, other options and other computers, but I want to get back to the main system and all my terabytes of disk space. So, all right, thanks for watching, and take care.